We have talked about a style, and then I told that style is to be understood in a bigger context in which there are other terms that sound similar and are sometimes interchangeable with the word style in sociolinguistics or variationist linguistics. And the closest word to the word style, the closest term, is the term register. Indeed, the word register in English has meanings. It is a common word in the language, mostly has a technical use. As far as linguistics is concerned, in stylistics, register is a variety of language defined according to its use in social situations. The word situation is key. Examples include terms such as the scientific register or religious register. And where it gets close to style is when people use the formal register instead of the formal style. So here it gets very close to the word style. In linguistics, the word register has a very specific technical meaning in phonetics, which has to do with the definition of voice quality according to specific physiological constitutions of the larynx, and that is not the meaning that I'm discussing today. Register differs from style in that register is often associated with particular settings. And by setting, I mean the physical place you're in. For example, a classroom setting or a church setting, or the soccer field. The register could be a variety of language which is shaped so for a particular communicative goal. The description of a register covers three major components: the situational context, the linguistic features, and the functional relationships between the first two components. The components of a situation could include the interlocutors, the people who are talking to each other, the topic, and a setting. According to Ferguson, who is another linguist, a communication situation that occurs regularly in a society in terms of participants, setting, communicative functions, and so forth, will tend over time to develop identifying markers of language structure and language use different from the language of other communication situations. In plain terms, what he means is when there is like a community of individuals who appear particular places repeatedly over a period of time for a specific purpose, this could lead to the formation of a variety of language which is called a register. Basically, a register is a kind of sub-language. Within the context of language, you create a sub-language which is gradually developed as the participants in that particular situation experience the same situation containing recurrent linguistic needs. And by that we mean how we talk about certain things. So that thing that we talk about appears over and over again. Therefore, in order to talk about those things more efficiently, we develop a kind of sub-language. You see here, there's an element that can distinguish register from style in the sense that register in a way is directed at developing an efficient sub-language for a particular topic. But for a style, for example, efficiency is not necessarily an element. The members of the group, the participants, you develop a desire for speedier communication, for faster communication. As a result, certain registral features begin to develop, such as names for recurrent objects and events, formulaic sequences, and the like, in order to facilitate communication. Facilitation and efficiency are key. Other features may appear in addition to these that may only mark rather than facilitate the sublanguage or register, help establish feelings of rapport, or serve other purposes. The register will thus become an added dimension to the language. If you're learning a new language, if you're a learner of a language, you're a non-native speaker, your learning of the language may be limited to a particular specific register, and you may be aware of the language outside of that register. For example, if you have learned English for academic purposes, you may have learned registers of English that are associated with academic writing or academic speaking or the classroom register, and you don't know how to use the language outside of those settings or situations. Every register has core lexical and grammatical features that serve as indicators of the differences between registers by virtue of frequency of distribution. It's not just about words, it's also about how frequently you use certain words that are associated with the register. These features may come from a variety of linguistic categories, including phonology, tense and aspect, nominal forms, passives, speech acts, etc. To fully identify a register, one needs to analyze the relative distribution of these linguistic features, which in turn indicate distinctions in terms of communicative purposes and situations. Setting needs to be taken into account in the collection of data in order to capture registral variation. In the same way that a dialect is a language variety associated with a group of speakers, probably living in a particular region or part of a social class, a register is a variety of language associated with social situations. It seems, therefore, possible to study situational variation, again variationist linguistics, and its relation to register. Sometimes register is used as a term to include all situational varieties, regardless of their level of generality. There are certain registers that are associated with certain professions or occupations, for example. People might use phrases such as computer programming register, or car mechanic register, or legal register. The term register is common among many scholars, but there are also scholars who totally reject the word register. They don't avoid using it. Basically what they're saying is that the term register is so broad that it doesn't refer to anything specific. So in this sense, Crystal and Davy prefer the word style to register. The very reason for which Crystal and Davy reject the use of register may be the reason why some other scholars prefer to use the term register because of its flexible semantics.